Special bulletins are similar to flash sheets, except they come out during the day. There might be a missing person or a stolen vehicle where we have a picture of the vehicle and we want to spread it out across the city. We can do that very quickly now. In some cases, we've been able to, where there's a bank robbery, for example, we can take the video from the surveillance system at the bank and broadcast it out over the network very quickly. There are other kind of ho-hum applications that turn out to be a big deal. Supervisors are cops. They just have more braid on their hat, but they prefer to be out in the field. And we have taken a number of things like performance evaluation reports and simply coded them up, put them on the network on a server, and allow, of course, the folks in the field to get at them. So now when a supervisor has some downtime, simply pulls the car over, turns on the laptop, gets it out, and prepares the reports right there. That keeps them out in the field. They're happy. In fact, they're very happy because they're closer to where the action's likely to be. But at the same time, they can get the dog work done of being a supervisor. There isn't a whole lot of reporting that goes on at that level, and these folks, basically these applications, in fact, bubbled up from the field. That's another nice story. It's definitely a case where at this point the users are driving some of the applications. They're coming in and saying, could you do this for me, could you do that? And the IT department, public safety IT department, is able to respond very quickly because most of these applications actually are very simple. It's a reach into a database or generate a form or something like that. We also have links through the network, a very simple thing, give it the right IP address and away you go. The right URL, I should say, live traffic cameras that are maintained by the State Department of Transportation, so that now when an officer is responding to the scene, they can see in advance through the state system what the traffic situation is ahead of them, especially if they're on one of the major arteries that run through the city. In public safety dispatch, we are experimenting with silent dispatch and the call status updates. And as time goes on, we'll get further into that sort of stuff. For the future, we have experimented with surveillance video, and I know it's a hot thing, and we've been sold this by, especially by the Motorola guy this morning. I will tell you that in practice, it's not quite as easy as that, and not just because the backhaul in our situation is light. There's a lot of procedural stuff. There's a question of how much of that video are you going to save, because you can pile it up pretty quick, and it's not very useful unless it's indexed, and that is an interesting problem. Indexing anything, we do a lot of it in land records and things like that, and I can tell you that creating indexes is a great idea, but it takes quite a fair amount of skill to do it. So there are some other issues. Surveillance video is obviously very helpful, and we're using some of it, as I mentioned. But are we going to put surveillance video all over the city? I doubt it. Are we going to link up with private security firm video? Very definitely. We are following up on some of those ideas. Are we going to put surveillance video in certain hotspot areas? We're definitely experimenting with that, but we're going slow because there are procedural things that you have to work out along the way. But it's definitely out there. And as I said, in fact, practically on the very first day we went live with the system, we proved to ourselves that we could run video over the system, and in fact, we're quite amazed at what was possible. Building floor plans, this is another great application that folks like to talk about. What it assumes, of course, is that your Inspection and Standards Division or building department of your city is getting floor plans and things like that in digital form. In the case of Providence, that's still to be done. We still receive building plans at that department in paper form. I could show you a back room of that department that would just, it makes me kind of angry actually at this point in time. I've been dealing with CAD diagrams for the last 20 years. I come out of the defense industry. But in the case of the city, it's pretty far behind. And again, it's a great thing to have the floor plans, but then they have to be indexed properly and annotated properly in order to be useful. Geographic projections, we use a lot of GIS in the city, and that one is actually probably going to be on the network sooner than building plans. Geographic projections of all kinds are